यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित् सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। Let us begin our class and let us read little bit from the life of Swami Vivekananda. And today it is 4th chapter, Naren Goes Up, and I am reading from this book, Swami Vivekananda, Life and Teachings. Originally, its name was A Simple Life of Swami Vivekananda, but later on teachings also are added to it. So it is Swami Vivekananda, Life and Teachings. Very simple book, but important informations about Swamiji. Main points are all given here, and it was, that is why, selected for translating into so many different languages when we were celebrating 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda around in 2000, probably 2011. So I also translated it into Nepali. That book also is available in the ashram. But we shall read it from English book, but this book is available in Hindi, it is available also in Kashmiri, it is also available in Dogri, it is available in Bengali and many other languages. Naren grows up. As Naren grew older, he took more interest in reading books and did not play games so much. He did well in his schoolwork, but his father took him away from Calcutta for 2 years and he stopped going to school. When he returned, he had to do 3 years' work in 1 year. When the time for examination drew near, he studied very hard. He passed the entrance examination in the first division. He was the only student from his school to do so that year. He then went to the Presidency College for 1 year. The next year he joined General Assembly's institution, now known as the Scottish Church College. The professor at the latter college were surprised to see how intelligent Naren was. The principal, Professor W. Hastie, said that he had never seen another boy like Naren. Naren studied hard and read many books of all kinds and on all subjects. He passed the first arts examination in 1881 and obtained his BA degree in 1884. So we find that when Naren grew up, started growing up a little older, then he paid more attention to studies than playing games. That does not mean that he did not play game, but he used to play game. But not like before. As a child, children they pass most of the time in play. And while playing also we can learn so many things in childhood. Up to our old concept was, up to the 5 years, child should be totally independent to go as he likes. No punishment should be given to him. And as he plays, as the children play and do so many other things, they will learn automatically. Many things they will learn from childhood. Natural way they will learn. From nature they will learn. And then later on, Naren started studying, but he did not study merely for marks. Generally, what I see, many children, their main attention is to how to score 90% or 100% or 99 or 100%. So main attention is on marks only, not on knowledge. So they limit their studies to the syllabus and they learn the syllabus by heart and then score very good marks, but their knowledge is limited to the syllabus. Whatever is there in the syllabus, they will study that much. And from there also they will try to find out suggestions. Oh, these things will, in the exam, only these things will come. So I will study only these things. So whole aim is to pass the exam. Whole aim is to score good marks. But our aim should be to acquire knowledge. Marks will come by itself. That is secondary. Knowledge is primary. The main aim of studying is knowledge. That is how we prayed. That is Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunattu, Sahaviryam Karavavahi, Tejasvina Vadhitamastuna Vitvishavai Om Shanti Shanti. There what we studied, O Lord, protect us both, the teacher and the student, nourish us both, the teacher and the student, and may we not hate each other, may our study be thorough and fruitful, and may we not hate each other. May our study be thorough and fruitful, not merely limited to syllabus and passing exam and scoring good marks, but it should be for acquiring knowledge, so it should be thorough and we should be able to apply it in our life. With that knowledge, we should be able to help people. When suppose we learn agricultural science and then we score some good marks and then done. You don't know how to cultivate, how to plow, what kind of seeds to be sowed in the ground, which season, all these things, agricultural science, we should be able to apply it in practical field. So, pure knowledge, pure science and then applied science. Pure science is like Mother Saraswati. And applied science is like Mother Lakshmi. They are one and the same thing. When pure knowledge, science is applied to the different fields in practical life, it will generate money also. So that is called Lakshmi. So Lakshmi and Saraswati, they are two sisters. So first we should acquire knowledge. We should go beyond profession. We should go beyond profession and then we should do research work, something new. And our study should be thorough. That is how our sages discovered so many things. That is the thing. And Naren also did the same thing. He did not limit his studies to the syllabus, but he studied wide range of books, wide range of subjects, He studied philosophy, he studied whatever, even beyond syllabus he studied. That is why the principal of his college, Scottish Church College, Professor William Hastie, he said that he had never seen another boy like Naren. So Naren was very intelligent and his memory was retentive and photographic memory and retentive. Whatever he read once, the whole thing he could remember by heart. And Naren used to read very fast. That we see later on how he could read the entire volume of Encyclopedia Britannica. In one day, in a few hours, he could finish the entire volume. And the whole thing used to be in his brain. He used to remember everything. Just like photograph. We take a picture and then whole thing is in our memory card, in our mobile, how we save, and later on we can see. So Swamiji's brain was like that. Just like taking picture and then putting. Very fast he used to do. Otherwise it is not possible to finish entire encyclopedia in a few hours. And several volumes he finished. That will come later on. And he passed his exam also in the first division, it is said here. And Naren also studied music for 4 or 5 years. This one is the trend in Bengal. And I appreciate it very much. I have been associated with Bengali community for many years, and I have seen every child compulsorily he learns either music or that is fine arts, painting or anything like that, which is not in it. It may not be in his curriculum, it may not be in his school, but they will go say on Sunday is a holiday in India, in Nepal it is Saturday. So on Sundays or like that, they will go to the music teacher or art teacher, they take lessons and then they practice, and every child we see is very good in painting, very good in music and many other things. So all good sanskaras, their parents, they impart to them. So similarly, Naren also studied music for 4 or 5 years. He learned to play several instruments and he became known as a very good singer also. Because he sang well, he was often invited to parties. He enjoyed the fun at parties, but he found more pleasure in intellectual discussions. He would often argue about serious subjects with his friends, and sometimes with older people. He was very good at argument, and few people could match his skill. Firstly, Swamiji was very good musician. In modern, if we say in today's language, he was ustad or pandit. So he composed many songs also, like our Khandana. Every day in the evening, what we sing, Khandana Bhava Bandhana, it is in a classical Dhrupad style. And there Swamiji has combined with even Western classical, martial kind of music also, and Indian classical music, Eastern classical music, and Western also classical martial music. That Swamiji learned later on Western music also, and then combining both Swamiji, that with that blending, but in a classical Dhruva style, Swamiji composed that Khandana Bhava Bandhana. Actually, it is to be sung by the expert singer only, but we sing every day. It is all the devotees of Ramakrishna Mission, they are habituated to this very difficult song. Otherwise, see, for singing Dhrupad style song, only expert a classical singer only can sing. But now we also can follow it. Khandana Bhava Bandhani. It is in that Dhrupad style. So then many other songs also Swamiji composed. And he could play many types of instruments. That is why Sri Ramakrishna used to tell about Swami Vivekananda that you see, Naren, he has so many good qualities. He knows how to sing, how to play on instruments, different kinds of instruments. And moreover, he is Jitendriya. He has control his senses. He has full control over his senses. So he is Jitendriya, and he also says that he will not marry. So from his very birth, Swamiji was a perfect brahmachari. So perfect control over senses, and never, even for a moment, no bad thought, no negative thoughts could cross his mind. So much, his mind was so much controlled. That is why when our mind is controlled, we can learn so many things. It is the mind, that is focusing mind only, can learn many things. Without that kind of focusing mind, we cannot learn anything. For example, animals, their mind is very fickle. They cannot concentrate for more times. Little bit of sound here and there, immediately their mind is distracted. And those who train animals like dogs or like that, they know very well. These animals, they have to be taken to a very secluded place where there is no disturbance, and they have to be trained there. And slowly, after several times of repetition, these animals, they learn some of the things they can learn, they can be trained. But their mind is not that much focused. Very little bit. And to focus their mind, it has to be connected with the food. So when dog trainers, when they try to train dog, and if the dog learns how to follow that particular command, immediately the trainer will give something to eat. So they will connect with that food, and somehow or other these animals are to be trained. But for human beings it is different compared to animals. Human being mind is more focused, and that is why they can learn more. Memory depends on how much focusing is our mind, how much concentrated is our mind. On that only memory depends. If our mind is concentrated, our memory and retaining power is good. If our mind is not concentrated, then it is memory also fails, and most of the things we do not remember. We go on repeating, but if our mind is not there, if the focus is not there, then we cannot learn things, or we cannot retain it, we cannot memorize it, and it will not remain in the memory. So focusing mind is important. And Swami Vivekananda, in one place, he says, what is the difference between man and animal? It is nothing but the concentration of mind. Animals have very little concentration of mind, and men have, human beings, they have more concentration of mind. And then what is the difference between a great man who has reached greater heights and lower kind of man, a very intelligent man, and a very lower kind of man, or a dull person or an intelligent person? What is the difference? It is the focus of the mind. It is the concentration of mind. One who has more concentration can learn more. His mind is more focused. That is the thing. And his memory also is good, and he can learn so many things. So memory is memory depends on concentration of mind. And how to develop this kind of concentration in one place, Swamiji says. Generally what we say is, we let us do some meditation and then we will concentrate. That is okay. But only half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening meditation, and the entire day our mind is distracted. Even that half an hour we will not be able to see it if our mind is too much distracted. So the main thing is, whatever we do, we should pay our whole attention to that particular thing. Swamiji says, once I saw a great yogi who used to pay full attention even while he was cleansing his brass cooking utensil. When he was cleansing that, he used to pay the same kind of attention that he used to pay for his meditation and worship. So whatever we do, everywhere, wherever it is necessary, we have to put our mind, we have to learn to focus. Now, this concentration or focusing also are two types. One is, when suppose a child is watching TV and that serial is very interesting, and then he is fully concentrated, he does not know what is going on here and there. So is it concentration? Then, because his mind is fully concentrated while watching some serial in the TV or something like that, or some book is there, story books, it is very interesting, he is reading that time he is fully concentrated. That is not real concentration. Concentration means you are able to put your mind where you want that particular moment at your own will. Suppose you want to remove that child from the TV and you tell him to study books, that time he will not be able to study books because his mind is there in the TV, he is watching serial. But suppose you remind him, tomorrow is your exam, now you give up that television and then you come and now concentrate on the book, he will not be able to concentrate on the book because his mind is drawn towards the television or something else, which is going automatically. That is happening automatically. We don't want that kind of automatic action. Even a dog is very, very concentrated when he is eating something. That time his mind is there in the eating. But that is not concentration. Concentration means you should be able to put your mind where you want to put it, where it is necessary to put, and you want to put in that way. You want to withdraw your mind, to be able to withdraw one's mind from one place, and then where I want to put it, where I want to concentrate it, if I am able to do it, then it is called real concentration. So, one of the secrets of concentration is detachment. So, while Bhagavan Sri Krishna was advising Arjuna said, this mind is very restless, and it is just like wind, blowing wind, very restless. It is very difficult to concentrate the mind. Even though Arjuna himself was a Jitendriya, he was a very good archer, and he used to hit the mark. With all these qualities, even Arjuna is telling that mind is very difficult to control. And how to control the mind? That time Lord Sri Krishna said, by practice and vairagya, abhyasena tu kaunteya, vairagyena chadhyayate. Practice also is necessary, but mere practice without detachment will not help. something we are repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating, but if detachment is not there, if our mind is in something else, but we are repeating the lesson, but mind is somewhere else, then that is not going to work. So repeating, and to remove mind from where it is not necessary, we need vairagya, that is called detachment. And if that detachment is there, we will be able to concentrate the mind in a thing where we need to concentrate. So, one of the secrets of concentration is detachment, and next is practice. So whatever we do, either whether we cook food or whether we are cleansing vessels, utensils, or whether we are mopping the floor, or whatever we are doing, that time we should focus on that particular thing which we are doing. So that is called focusing of the mind. That is meditation. If you can concentrate your mind on a thing, whatever you are doing, if you can do with concentration, if you can do with focus, then it is called real meditation. Otherwise, many times we are sitting and we are thinking, meditating, we are meditating, but our mind is wandering somewhere else, but there is no measuring rod. We cannot measure whether actually we are meditating or not. But while doing work, that work itself is a measuring rod. Suppose we are cooking and we put full concentration, the food will be very tasty. So that itself is the measuring rod. If the food is very tasty, that means you have put your more concentration. You are cleansing the vessel, and the vessel is shining like gold. Suppose glass vessel you are cleansing, and you are cleaning with full concentration, and then the vessel, that utensil, that pot, it shines like gold. That means you have put more concentration there. That is the measuring rod. You know, yes, I applied my full mind. That is why my work is perfect. So while doing work, you can actually test yourself whether you are focusing or not. But while doing meditation, we will not know actually whether we are meditating or not. That we do not know. Our mind may be wandering where we go. So that is why Swamiji says that whatever you do with full concentration, and then you should also have detachment so that you can concentrate on the things you need to concentrate, and your mind will not automatically run to the things, and it seems that you are concentrating, but it is automatic. That automatic automation it will not happen. Human being is not automation. You can consciously practice, not automatically, consciously, with effort, applying willpower. So Narayan's concentration was tremendous. He was born perfect, tremendous concentration, and he learned music also the same way, because if concentration is there, one can learn anything and everything. Everything can be learned. If a person has a concentration of mind, focusing mind, and if you focus that mind in whatever things, if you focus the mind in literature, you can learn literature. You can, if you focus the mind on, suppose, English language, you can learn English language very well. If you suppose focus your mind on mathematics, you can learn mathematics, because mind is one and the same. If somebody says that I can learn this particular subject more, but I cannot learn mathematics, that means he is learning that subject well, there is no doubt. But he is learning that because of his previous sanskara, which is happening automatically. But that means he is not learning new things. Whatever already that sanskara was there from his previous birth, maybe he was a very good English, he was an English professor in his previous birth, so he is very good in English, but he is not able to focus his mind in mathematics. That means He has not yet learned to focus. That concentration problem. We help our parents or whatever, or even our own books, our own room, all these things, and try learning to keep things in a particular place. That is what Sri Ramakrishna taught. He said, always keep one first. Just first fix a place for a thing, and then always place the thing in that particular place. So that is today. Suppose you keep today your pen here, tomorrow there, then also your concern, you will not be able to remember. So keeping things in proper order. If you learn to learn orderliness, external, if you practice external orderliness, that will automatically help in internal orderliness. Your mind will acquire that orderliness. So to acquire internal mental orderliness, one has to practice external orderliness. To keep things in order properly, doing things with concentration. That external, our external activities, that is directly, it will help the same way in the internal mind. If we become orderly externally, our mind becomes orderly internally, and that orderly mind is actually concentrated mind, and memory and everything depends on that concentration, orderliness, and doing things with concentration, whatever we do, focusing on that. And then just one more paragraph we will read. At this time, Naren became interested in the problems of religion. Like many other young men, at that time, Naren became a member of the Brahmo Samaj and attended the lectures of Sri Keshav Chandra Sen. He was often asked to sing songs at the Samaj, but the question which troubled him most was whether there is a God or not, and whether anyone had seen him. He visited many religious leaders, including Mahasi Devendra, for an answer to this question, but none could satisfy his doubts. So, as Naren became interested in religion, that is, finding out the ultimate truth, whether that ultimate truth called God really exists, or it is just imagination, or it is just a matter of faith, or God really exists. That question was the question of his life and death, not a casual question. Somebody goes and asks, "Sir, have you seen God?" That is the casual question. And casual questions do not deserve to be answered. Only very serious, if the person has really thought seriously about the question, if a person has really been troubled by that problem of life and death, how to solve it, not only for myself, but for others also, that kind of seriousness in thinking and trying to find out the answer, that is really called serious question, and question of life and death, and that kind of things happen to Naren. As we see in the life of Buddha, the same kind of question was in his mind. What is truth? How to get rid of this suffering? Where is how we can go beyond suffering? What is the answer? So that made him give up his palace, his kingdom, everything. So that kind of seriousness, that kind of thing happened to Naren also. So, and that is how later on, and this particular question in his mind, Lord Naren to Sri Ramakrishna